Hi everyone, hopefully my sound is a bit better today because I have moved my microphone, so I'm hoping you can all hear me loud and clear. I thought that today I would get back out some of the paints that I have done some videos on previously, plus I'd suddenly remembered the other day that I still hadn't done anything with these, how do you say it, let me have a look. Oh, it's not written on there, but is it Boku? It was Boku Undo Sumo watercolours, which are like an inky watercolour, so I thought I'd use those as well today. So I've got my granulating colours from Gansai Tambi, granulating colours from Kuretake. It's a bit of a mouthful, that one, isn't it? So I thought I'd use a bit of those. I already had some mixed into these dishes, and all I have done is I let them dry out, so but they're fine to reconstitute and to add a bit of water to. So I'll put that one away. So hopefully, oh, actually I better keep that, because otherwise I'll forget what all the colours were, won't I? So we'll put those to the side. I've also got my high chroma colours from Clair, which are by Golden, which are already in this palette again because I've squeezed them out the tubes. I've just left them in here. Ideally, I should probably have them covered. That's why you would normally have like a covered up palette so that they're not getting dusty and dirty. But to be fair, these have been okay. So I'll put that one away as well. And then I'm going to use my Japanese colours here, which are an ink. I think they're an ink rather than a paint. But I thought that would be quite nice. And I have been seeing a lot on YouTube of people doing grid journals, and I've started having a little go myself. I tend to usually do a bit of a twist on it and do some different sort of types of shapes for my grid, so I can't just stick to a normal grid. But today I thought I would stick to a normal grid. Now I'm just going to check, because I've got 5 and then I've got 6 and 6, so 12, 17 colours. So 1, 2, 3, oh, so I've got 16 squares, but you know, maybe one colour won't be able to have a square, but never mind. I thought I would use the different paints so we could have a look at how you get different effects. So I love all sorts of different coloured mediums, but I've really started loving the watercolours. But I like watercolours that are a little bit different quite often. I do have some packs of normal watercolours. For example, I do love my Mei Liang watercolour set. This is probably my most used watercolour set. I don't tend to do watercolour painting as in like painting a picture with my watercolours. I tend to be stamping and colouring or creating backgrounds, those sorts of things. But I also do love the watercolours that are a little bit different. So for me, things like the granulation of the Kuretakes, these because they're a bit inky and different, and these because they're just lovely bright. And the core golden ones have got Oxgall or some, no, not, they haven't got Oxgall, it's, I think it's a, please look it up, please don't rely on my word. It might be a synthetic version which makes them flow really, really fast. So, but I thought I'd sort of lay them out a bit on here so we can see the differences between how they work and what they look like. And then I'll do that in real time, and then afterwards what I'll do is I'll let them dry, and I will do something with the grid, with adding some stamps and some stencils and making it a little bit more journally, which I will do sped up for you in a time lapse. Now this is my Cardi Fat Book. I stuck this on the front just to remind me of all the information. So this is it. I treat it sort of like my playing around book. It's quite thin cotton rag paper, so it's 100% cotton, it's acid free, it's only 100 GSM, so but you get a lot of pages. I've even, in this one, I've used some of the pages for other things, which I've then just cut out the back. But if you see, I just use it, I sort of, oh, there you go, that's me playing around with another sort of grid, drawing out another grid. I sort of just use it to when I want to have a play around with things, I want to try things out, see what I can do. So there's pages in here that I haven't really finished off, there's things that I have finished. I use it for a bit of swatching. So that was that's the Gansai Tambi Art Nouveau set. What is this one? I'm not sure. Oh, that's the Gansai Tambi 36 set. There's all sorts of different things in there. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll start off with the Boku Undo Sumo colours. These are made in Japan. Kuretake do also do a set of these, but I bought these ones. I think these may be slightly less expensive. But let's just get some water going on these. So let's give them a little spritz. So we've got reddish black, yellowish black, greenish black, bluish black, purplish black and brownish black. So that sort of gives you a bit of a hint of the sorts of colours you got, because they are inky. I am going to add a bit of water to my squares. I've got a feeling I'm going to sort of probably discolour my water quite quickly today because of their inky quality. But let's just do 3 because I don't want them to sort of dry out. So we'll start with reddish black. Now I'm not doing this as a swatch as such. I'm more sort of just trying to colour in my boxes a little bit. I want to add a bit more water to that, I think, and make it a little bit lighter on this side. So I'm not really looking at a review of these. I'm just using them because they have been sat in my stash for a little while and I really did need to get them out. Let's put a little bit more. I might put a little bit less colour on this one. So this is yellowish black. I have to say it doesn't really go with my concept of yellow, but if you love earthy, moody sorts of tones, these could be quite interesting. And I'm going to make the presumption they're going to dry slightly different to how they go on, sort of neat, so to speak. Greenish black. And I am, to be honest, I mean, I've drawn the grids in, and these I did draw with, I just measured out with a ruler. I looked at how much space I had, and I can't, to be totally honest, I can't even remember what size they are. Let's have a little look just in case that is useful to know. 1.5 inches square. So you get different effects, a different amount of ink, paint, I'm not quite sure what you'd call it. You put down, this one I hadn't wet, had I? So that was reddish black, yellowish black and greenish black, and although they look very dark in there, you can see the different colours once you put them onto the paper. So this one is bluish black. Do love a bluey black colour. So I probably really like this. This like then it's almost like like an indigo, or maybe like a Prussian blue, some Prussian, or a paint, or even more of a Payne's grey actually. Covered all my bases there, you see. Right, I'm going to put all these colours down because I haven't swatched these out as such before. I haven't used them before. I'll put all of these ones down, and it's going to have to be one of the others that will lose out. I think I'll lose out one of the core golden paints. Right, so this one is purplish black. That's very much more of a black to me. That's very subtle. Maybe as it dries it will become more black. I do think that this cardi paper does probably act slightly differently to other sorts of watercolour paper. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't like how that, it might be that these paints will look different on different sorts of paper. I like the cardi paper, but I'm not a pure watercolour artist. So I'm more of I consider myself a crafter rather than an artist. So I just like playing around and finding how things work differently. So that's the brownish black. I do like them. Let me lift them up a little bit to see if you can see the colours better. Obviously, whilst they're wet, you're not going to see them as properly because you've got all that water, and I have really rather saturated, but I want to sort of really leave them as they are. Now let's go on to our Kuretake. So let's do this one. Right, let me see, because I have probably muddled these up big star. Let me have a look on here. What does it tell me on that? There we go. So Aurora Red is not going to be over here. So we've got Aurora Red, Aurora Pink, Aurora Orange, Aurora Blue, and Aurora Violet. I think that's correct. So let's put some water down there. Let's get some water going on in here as well. Remix it. You can see how they split when I probably could have done with having a bit more colour in this, couldn't I? But I'm just using what's in there, so let's just see how it goes. So there we go. So this is the, what did I say this was? Aurora Red. I do feel that some of these colours are sort of a little bit similar-ish. I do wish that, saying that, I'm going to presume that there's only so many that you can get to split like this, or to act like this. I don't know, I'm not an expert. Oh, look at that, how well that flowed, that was nice. I would have liked some that were maybe a little bit different. I do quite like the Aurora Orange for a more vintagey, rusty kind of look. They are quite good for that. So that's the Aurora Pink. Let's get a bit of water on here. Trying to remember to go in the, wash my brush in one side and get the clean water off the other. It's usually quite a struggle for me, that. Right, so this is the Aurora Orange. This is the one I think, it sort of goes down looking a little bit brown and then it splits into the colours a bit, oh, wrong one. Some of these have got a lot more paint in them than others. I didn't think to add some extra. So they may be a little bit paler than normal. They might not make potentially sort of granulate as much as normal, but it's just a playing around. This is what I like with this idea of the grid, is that it sort of takes a bit of pressure off you, I feel, because you're sort of just doing little mini things rather than having to do a whole page, and it doesn't really matter. Or this could just be a general backdrop. So this one is the Aurora Blue. This is sort of like a blue and a orange. A little bit more in this one. I think it's all sort of going that way because my book is sort of sloping that way a little bit. Right, so that's that one. And then add in, we'll just leave that like that. And then finally we have got Aurora Violet. This is the one that I find those quite a bit more muted. This one's a little bit, I think it's this one that is a little bit more bright. A bit brighter. I could speak in proper English that way. But again, it's dependent on you know what your, yeah, this one is. This is the much brighter colour, this one. Already I can see that one's splitting. Some you do see it more than others as well. I'm not sure whether you'll see it so much on some of these today. But they are a bit of fun is what I think of them as. Right, so I've got 5 squares left, but I have got 6 colours. So I'm thinking that I want to sort of, it's quite a muted palette, so I might avoid using the, I think it's Quinacridone Magenta. Let me have a look. So we've got Quinacridone Gold, Pyro Orange, Quinacridone Magenta, Dioxazine Purple, Cobalt Teal and Green Gold. So we'll miss off the pink. So we'll miss off the Quinacridone Magenta because that is the bright, and I feel that may be a bit too, I mean they're all going to be quite bright because they are high chroma colours. Let's go with the gold. I do love the gold. See the difference with how that spreads. This is the thing, it's got this sort of flow ingredient, which means it really spreads really quickly, which I find quite fun. I can imagine that if you're a pure watercolour artist and you want to control what you're putting down, it might be a bit more difficult having it do that. I find some of them do it better than others. So it might be maybe a mixture between the properties of the whatever it's called. I have got it written somewhere of what it's actually that they put in it, and the pigments maybe, I'm not sure. I'm not an expert in this field. Right, so we're going to mist the magenta. I didn't wet those down either at all, I just realised. So that one goes quite flowy. This is the I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's a dioxine purple. And it's going a little bit over the edge of that. I think the pink would have been, the magenta would have been a little bit too much. This one is let's go with cobalt teal. This one I find doesn't spread as much. Oh, I can see a hair. Oh, that was silly, wasn't it? Oh well, let's put that up there like that. I don't know where the hair went. Oh, the hair's in the middle. I can see the hair. I'll remove the hair when it's dry. Might be easier. And finally, we've got the green gold. I love green gold. So you get that, and then it sort of spreads out into the rest a bit better. So we've got sort of a graduation of colour from very, very dark and moody, going into slightly getting a little bit more bright, but still, you know, still a little bit of that moodiness, into full on, we're in your face, coming to get you sort of colours. So what I will do is I will leave those to dry. I will hold it up to you whilst it's wet, actually, just so you can see the colours a bit better, hopefully. And then once it's dried, I will come back. I will put you on a bit of a speed up for time lapse, and we'll turn this into a page as well, which I hope you'll watch through to the end. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in a bit.